Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates.
Welcome to Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates. I'm your host, Mike Oglinski. Tonight's guest is Commissioner Busbraski, Commissioner for the Nye County District. What district is it?
District 4.
District 4, that's correct. Mr. Braski, we've had you on a couple of different times, and one of the themes that we've always spoken about were veterans. Before we went into the show, we were kind of talking about some of the things that, as far as the access to health care the veterans have experienced in Nye County, and I know that on the federal level, state level, and the local level, everybody's been trying to alleviate that. But you've also seen some progress in other areas as far as helping the veterans. What projects have you been working on?
In the housing, I'm working with a fellow by the name of John Zellhofer in town here. We sit on a steering committee through the coalition, and we're working on transitional housing, Section 8 housing, that kind of low income. For veterans, there's a little more available out there than there are for the average person. And I had a meeting in Eureka with NACO. I'm sure you're familiar with that, National Association of Counties, last Friday, and there was a presentation done by the Rural Housing Authority in the state of Nevada. And I believe sometime in the next couple of weeks we're going to sit down with those folks and see what they have available for this area, because we can't piggyback with Clark County on their housing authority, so we have to do one with the Rural Housing Authority. And it has to be under that to get any kind of funding. So we're looking at transitional, temporary, anything that we could find to help our veterans here.
What would be considered as transitional or temporary? What's the time frame?
Well, it's hard to put a time frame on something like that. If we can get somebody who's in a desperate need, to get them into a home and hopefully find another location at a later date within 6 months to a year, I don't think we're looking at short term like a day or a week or something like that, but
so it's
more 6 months or so. And then it depending on the situation, could be extended.
Now, is this any different than the government subsidized housing, you think, like with Section 8?
It's quite similar, but for veterans, there's a little more money out there.
Okay.
And again, we have to get into a program where we can get 1 or 2 homes here in town. They don't have to be fancy. They're manufactured or small stick built or something like that. And then get the people put into the homes. Somebody will have to monitor that. It'll have to go through a 501c3.
Okay. In the administration of these homes, are you guys trying to, in the project, are you trying to find private homeowners that would allow for the temporary housing for veterans? Is that the idea?
Not necessarily. We're looking more at HUD-MASH or something like that, where they have a home. Actually, we've already been offered to anyone available in Pahrump, but there hasn't been any foreclosures on the USDA loans. So they had one once and it was gone, and that was going to be a trial. And what they would have done was lease it to the 501c3 for like $1 a year or something like that. Now, these other funding programs, I'm not too familiar with them yet. Haven't had maybe I can come back and do another show in a couple of months.
Sure.
Once I've had a chance to work with those folks and see what they can do. Now, there could be many different ways to do it. Is to rent a house and use it that way, to lease a home, to take over a home that's in foreclosure if we can find one. Several different ways to go there. And again, it's going to need somebody to monitor it. So between John and I, and I'm sure we can get some volunteers out there to step up and be part of that.
Do you have the support of the Veterans Administration statewide for this program too?
Well, that's the thing we're working on right now. I've been working with Senator Heller and his people. They've been very good with the veterans, very, very helpful, and trying to get a program put together that's going to tailor to our needs and get the grant funding any way we can we're looking at almost anything because there's a desperate need, and we would like to see these people get indoors, get from out in the desert or wherever we can. I know you're aware that there's more than a few out there living in campers and things like that. And unfortunately, some of them wish to live that way, but a lot of people don't. I'm sure you've seen people travel through town with a mother or father, 2 or 3 kids in a car with sleeping bags and pillows and blankets, and they don't have a home. And one good thing I love about Pahrump is we take care of our own real well. There's so much generosity here and so many people willing to open their doors or to put a few dollars in. We had an issue with the veterans 2 weeks ago on Sunday. They ran out of food. Nobody knew about it. All of a sudden the word got out, and by the end of the day, food was coming in again to their food bank. So there's a lot of programs here. There's a lot of caring, giving people, and a lot of volunteers who like to go out and help. So I love this place.
Okay. On the flip side, we were talking about healthcare administration for the veterans, and I know that local hospital, Desert View, has a small department that kind of helps facilitate the healthcare administration for veterans. Do you find that there's still a continuing need or need for transportation down to the Veterans Hospital in Las Vegas, the larger one, for more inpatient procedures? Is that something that's still an active item?
Yeah, well, we have our service officer now that's here, I believe it's 2 days a week, and the rest of the county 2 days a week, and the last day they're working with the state. But we did give them a van to use, but transportation is a huge issue in our town. I also work on a committee on trying to come up with a bus service. And we've been plugging away at this thing for about 2 years now. Not an easy thing to do because it's hard to get the funding to run the thing. And it's not a moneymaker.
Right.
Now, we are lucky to have Integrity Taxi coming in. And they're wonderful people. And there might be a possibility we could piggyback with them. But they'll also have service available back and forth to Vegas through their taxi system. And they've put in some really good rates. Inexpensive to get moved from here to Vegas and back.
Do you have any idea what those rates are going to be?
No, they're not even sure themselves right now. I think maybe you should get Jim to come on your show and talk to him about Integrity Taxi and what the potential has for Pahrump here.
Mr.
They're
Jemison.
a great organization. They're very, very gung-ho on starting out here. They're just waiting for their license. They were competing with the old taxi service that went under, and I think once they get their clearance with the state, they'll be providing regular transportation. They're already doing some from Vegas out to here and back again, vice versa to take people to doctors, but once they get their taxi license, then they'll be able to step up a little more.
We'll talk a little bit about that after this break. We'll be right back.
Court reporter with Stovall and Associates.